Nerdrotic.com.
I recently had to walk out of the movie theaters because of wokeness, and I'm like, I'm just...
Yeah, you talked about that. Do tell.
Candyman.
Really?
I haven't watched it, but I've heard.
How
bad is it?
I don't want to ruin the terribleness for you.
I gotta go watch it then.
Please do. We ruin it
You have to
every
return
week
the
for each
favor.
other. Yeah.
It's what I expected, but worse.
Is it that bad?
From the very first scene, it was like police brutality. Like the first scene, the first one. And then like they kept using collective talk, like instead of talking like in an individual, they'd be like, you know how it's like for people like us. What do you mean?
No.
Just like Shang-Chi then. Just like Shang-Chi. Yeah. No, the hive mind. Yeah.
Hive mind.
The hive mind we're all connected to.
And the whole story, even from like the side conversations in it, it's to like the plot, it's like it's so unrealistic of how an average Black person lives about their day to day. Like they made sure they put them in the projects, of course, and then they made it so like almost every conversation somehow had to do about race. Like I think white supremacy was vocalized within like the first 5 minutes, I want to say.
Oh my gosh. It's like the people that are telling these stories, like you can tell they are trying to give their a perception of what they think the Black life is all about, you know? Like we had movies like Boys in the Hood growing up that were actually good, you know, Juice, you know? So now you have all of these left-leaning white liberals that have never hung out with a Black person in their life trying to tell you stories about how bad it is to be Black. And Black people can watch that and go, the fuck is this? This has nothing to do with anything.
What it seems to me is that Jordan Peele wasn't this way, and then he made one movie that was Get Out. Everybody latched onto the racism part of the movie and didn't realize that the movie was like a subversion of that trope. Yeah. And then they were just like, hey, you know what? Get Out worked really well. Why don't you make another one? And it's got to be just about the race. And then he made the next movie, and then it was all about race. And then this one, he wrote the screenplay for Candyman, and it seems like he's just in that niche now.
Yeah,
he's just stuck in the horror / racism niche.
Here's the secret. It's because these people, they're no longer writing and producing films for you and me, the audience. They're producing films for their peers. They're producing films to be hailed by the journalists that they hire and and the reviewers that, you know, want to continue to have access to whatever studio insider gossip or whatever they want. What the public might actually want to see or what they might respond to is sort of a secondary consideration now. It's weird because we're also in an era, I feel like a sort of like pro wrestling in a sense, in that the audience now seems smarter than the content. You know, like we have
very well said. Very well said.
One of the things that I love is that, like, if you go to comment section on any of the geek culture websites or whatever, or commentators, it's like when I was a kid and you would like argue with your friend, you'd be trading cards or whatever, you'd be arguing with your friends about, you know, if Wolverine went up against I don't know, Batman, like who would win, and like, you know, which team was better? Is it going to be the Avengers or the X-Men? Or like you would just argue about this kind of stuff, and just it's not aggressive. You're just talking about it because you're steeped in that culture and you have like an emotional investment in it. But these people, they're so smart, and they're just passing these philosophies back and forth and their own interpretations of the story. You know what I mean? Like I've been watching a lot of like Justice League clips from the animated features, and just to see how deep people go when they're discussing like different plot lines or different references. I'm just like, dude, you have to pay attention to these people because they love this stuff. They're really, really into it. And you know, you said before we came on, fan means fanatic. It's short for fanatic. And they're not making stuff for fans or fans of cinema or fans of good movies. They're making stuff for fans of their own socio-political worldview. And it's, you know, which is fine. You can do that. It's just don't get mad when people don't go see it and then call everyone losers. Just
Kevin Smith confirmed it when he said Netflix doesn't give a shit. They're like, oh, they don't care about what you think. It's not made for you. It's made for themselves.
Yeah. Alex Kurtzman said it when he said it's no longer about Star Trek. It's about using it as a platform for our messages. It's all gone. Entertainment's gone.
It's up to Hollywood to kind of right the ship, or they're just going to continue their decline, right? Douglas Adams, right before he died, his last, the author Douglas Adams, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, right before he died, he did a last interview. And in his last interview, he was asked where entertainment was going to be going. And he said it would be more interactive. There's this new word called interactive. and it's going to be where the audience takes part. Back in the 1800s, early 1900s, during vaudeville and everything, the audience took part in every show. They were part of the show. And that's something that's been happening for a while with video games and now with live streaming. And that's where it's going to go. Hollywood can't compete against that because now anybody can turn on a microphone and turn on a camera, and it will just slowly decay at the far edges of Hollywood. Plus the paradigm shift of moving everything to streaming, where they're going to lose all kinds of money and actors aren't going to get good deals anymore. They're going to get fucked in brand new ways, the same way the music industry fucked artists there. And if you already have a name and you can embark on your own, then you're good. But if you're a new one, you don't have a chance. And then other people, who are talented see that, oh, it's not that it's just a waste of time to be a rock star. I'll go do something else, and then your industry starts to, not be as important. It'll always be around, but you're not getting the best of the best as far as the artists are concerned. That's the foundational problem. And then there's the added problems of just being a dumbass and going out and attacking fans. Like, you can't afford to lose customers at all. The comic industry to this day has not figured it out. So we see comic book writers attacking fans over and over again, and then they're like, I can't pay my rent and I can't afford ramen. I don't know what to fucking tell you anymore. We've been trying to tell you for 4 years.
I think so much of what you said is right on point. And on top of that, I'd only add that I kind of feel like it's an amazing kind of fun era. And I say this to people a lot, which is that, the idea of stardom, the idea of fame, what that even means, it's completely changed. It's completely changed now. It's not what it used to be. Since we have so much access to quote unquote stars and celebrities now, but we also have platforms like YouTube where we have access to quote unquote normal people. And we're finding that the normal people are actually way more interesting and like intelligent and just quirky and fun to watch. I mean, I love that everyone will know who I'm referencing. I just love the fact that there's a guy who dresses up in some crazy like Renaissance fair costume with a weird helmet and does a crazy voice and just talks about, like, I'm talking about Doomcock. It's not something that I knew I would ever be enjoying, but I'm enjoying it. Just the craziness of it, but also it's the information and it's like the the rumors and the news and the gossip. So and where else can I get that? That's not, Hollywood isn't doing that right now. And I feel, given everything that's happened over the past couple of years, especially, it's like, I agree. Like, you can't. This is not the time to be alienating people, but because what they're going to do now is they're going to go, well, I got these video games, I got this whole internet community right now. I got YouTube, I got all kinds of other stuff that can divert my attention. Like, nobody cares if you're a movie star anymore, because you can be an Instagram booty model and have as many followers as Michael B. Jordan does.
And the video game industry is now 3 times the size of Hollywood.
Yep.
Yeah. You're not the big dogs anymore. That's
you're the big dog in the video game industry, because you can customize, create your own character, be you in a game.
And the video game is now grabbing the majority of the voice actor work. So
well, and it's like you've got like you were talking, Cliff. You got a 21-year-old TikTok chick who's just dancing that might have more influence than maybe some of the biggest stars in Hollywood.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's where we're at, and it's still pushing towards that direction.
Pokimane sits on a stream, she eats fucking cereal and watches other people's YouTube videos, and now she's on Free Guy in the Free Guy the movie. People watch her for whatever reason. And that's the influence that it gets. It's moved them into a movie star role, even if it's a cameo in a film. It doesn't matter. It still put them into a major Hollywood movie.
And they look down on this world. They look down on, like they think that they're above it. And I'm like, no, man. Like, no one outside the industry is reading Variety or Hollywood Reporter. I mean, like, or whatever other publication that you hire a publicist so that your client gets featured in it. They're on YouTube and they're on like message boards and on social media talking about all this stuff. And you should pay attention to them, because they're telling you how to fix your stuff, and but you're calling them Nazis for it. Again, you have to laugh. It's funny. Yep. It's funny.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
If you like what I do here, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking and sharing the videos. It really does help. And if you did this with your favorite YouTuber as well, I'm sure they would appreciate it as much as I do.